And welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Hawkeye session. Today is December 1st, and we're going to be going until about 10 o'clock today. And trading the foreign exchange on margin carries a high level of risk and may not be suitable for all investors. The high degree of leverage can work against you as well as for you. Before deciding to invest in foreign exchange, you should carefully consider your investment objective, level of experience, and risk appetite. The possibility exists that you could sustain a loss of some or all of your initial investment, and therefore you should not invest money that you cannot afford to lose. You should be aware of all the risks associated with the foreign exchange trading and seek advice from an independent financial advisor if you have any doubts. This is a live trading room. It is for educational purposes only. No financial advice or recommendations will be provided. Any trade taken during the live session is not a recommendation or a suggestion that you should also do the same. Past performance is not indicative of future results. Do not trade money that you cannot afford to lose. Before trading live, always operate with a written trade plan that identifies rules for entries, exits, targets, and risk management. And with that, we shall go to the charts. And we had an alert at 6:15 this morning on the US yen. It was an ascending wedge. That was the last one we had. So what I did was I drew the wedge. It was ascending, so I wanted to go from, it's going basically from low to high. And I did draw a higher channel from a higher time frame, from basically yesterday's high, yesterday's low. And I connected that with an ascending channel because that's pretty much what it's doing. It's following the 30-minute 62. And I'm seeing, as you look at the RSI where we had the alert, we had a nice pullback just before the alert, had another pullback, and it did, right after the alert, it did have break the top of the wedge where the alert was. It went up, closed, it didn't close above it, went back down into the wedge, retesting. The fact it does have some upward momentum, I did enter this thing just as it was ready to push back up, back into the takeoff of the wedge. Now, one thing I was looking at with this one is on the 5-minute chart, we had our Fibonacci lines, and this thing here is the 5-minute, 15-minute Fibonacci, and up here is the, right in the middle of a zone that I drew is the red zone. So between, this would be my target. This is my target area. This is the area that you got 22 pips. It's right about in the middle of this whole thing. And it's coming right at a green Fibonacci, 5-minute Fibonacci line. There's about 14 pips to the target up here. So there's enough room for the target if it breaks out. I have my stop on the other side of the wedge. And if it comes back down and if these moving averages start to cross, I'll get out of it before then. And it's only about a 10 pip target or 10 pip stop, 12 pip target, 10 pip stop. And I'm taking a swing at the bat on this one. I did get in. It did get a little bit proper. It's having a hard time breaking through, closing above this. It did over here. It closed, it passed it, checked it, came back down, passed it, rechecked it again. And so right now it's ranging right in between this little box right in here. And this is on the 5-minute chart. So right now it's still trading within this range. If it breaks out of the bottom of this, I will probably get out and see if it retests the bottom. And if it breaks out top, we should be all right. So right now I'm just going to hold my ground and see which way this thing breaks. But right now the indicators that I'm using are, looks like it's going to break to the upside. That's where my plan is. Coming over a little bit further to the left, you'll see that reason when I got this last week, as a matter of fact, we had a wedge and drawn, and we had, this was our trap area, and it came right up, got us into the trap, took us down. We made a nice little trade off of that. And so it's real, basically where I have this trap is actually a retest of where I just moved that trap over to the left because the fact we had a nice move down, came back up, retest this area. There's still found some sellers in here, came back down, And so right now there's still probably a few sellers in this area, but this is where my target is. And with the Fibonacci sitting right in the middle of that on the 5-minute chart, I like that as a target. So if it does break through this green area, it's probably going to come up here. We're looking at this as a target. I'm just going to bring my target just to the bottom of where the trap is, just a couple of pips below that, and that should, if it breaks up, that's where my target's going to be. We do have all the moving averages in the right direction. We have the green, yellow, purple. So all these are in the right direction. We had a bounce off of the 5-minute 62. And if we look over at the 15-minute chart, we'll check out and see where the Fibonacci's are, or the moving averages are on this one. It's getting a little bit busy. Let me take some of this stuff off of this 15-minute chart here. I'll spread this out a little bit. And you can see that we also have everything's in the right direction. The green, yellow, orange. This is the 15-minute 62.
Good morning and happy Tuesday.
Good morning, Matt. Welcome.
Morning, Matt.
Hey, what's it looking like?
Well, right now I'm looking, actually I did take this thing long on the US yen. It looks like it has pressure to the upside, and I'm looking at a target right up in here where the target was last week, where it came right up in here, whipped into it, gave us a nice little trade down last week. And I'm looking for a retest of this area with a little bit of strength. Everything looks to be more strong to the upside than it is to the downside. And looking at our RCS tool, right now they're pretty much right here fighting for last place between the dollar and the yen. And right now the dollar is a little bit stronger on this 15-minute chart, and it's gaining a little bit of strength here. It doesn't have quite the spread that I normally like, but it's right now it's still okay to do this. And like I said, right now it's trading inside this range right in here is where it's trading. Broke out of the wedge alert, broke out of the top, came back into the wedge, broke out top, came back in. And we do have a little bit of a trend line. We have a little bit of a wedge form with a high, a low, lower high, and so far we have a lower low or a higher low. So that's what we've got so far. Any questions? I did get into this trade. I got in a little bit earlier on a 1-minute chart when we had the crossover, and my stop is down here about 10 pips away, and my target up here is at 12 pips away. So right now we're just waiting to see what happens. If it breaks out of the bottom of this, I'll probably get out of the trade, and then if it bounces, I'll maybe re-enter it possibly, but I won't let it go more than 10 pips against me. If it takes me out, it takes me out.
Smart.
And here's we have the 15-minute 62 right between, we have the 5 and the 15, both 62s. We have the 30-minute all the way down here. It passed that, and right now it's, we may get another bounce off of here, but I think it's going to, climb up to the upside a little bit more still before then. But right now, this is a nice little zone right here. I'll still keep my stop on the other. It's got to get through this 62. It's got to get through this 62. And it's got to get through the bottom of the wedge before it takes my stop. I may move it down just a little bit here, just to get it down to around the 30-minute. That's 11, 12 pips. So that's where I'm going to do it. I'll be out of it before. If it breaks through and closes and retests this, we get a pass and check on this 62. I make it out and wait to see what happens. If maybe get a little bit better entry on it. And we can check our Forex Factory for any trades, for any news today. 10 a.m. We have a couple red folders. Fed Chair Powell speaks at 10 o'clock. Manufacturing PMI. I'm not sure what all that is, but anyway, they're red folders at 10 o'clock. So be aware of that. On the US dollar.
Manufacturing PMI is kind of a big deal, but it's not like non-farm payroll, so yeah. It'll move the market.
And so
But-
it's, yep. It is a red folder, so we pay attention to the red folder ones, even though we may not know what they, even though we don't know what they are all the time. It's we'll still pay attention to it.
Yeah.
And
we
look
don't
up-
do a lot of fundamental stuff. You know, the only fundamental stuff we really concern ourselves with is the red folders, and we try to stay away from them, or we're actually cognizant that they are there, because you don't want to get backhanded, you know.
Now we do have a little bit of a rally base. Actually, this is a little bit of a trending area. We have nice little pullback, take off, and right now it's retesting. This whole area right here is pretty much retesting this little pullback right in here. If it breaks, we have this one is the next one. This is, I'll call this a retest area. If I can find a retest area right here. That's a retest area. And so if it comes back into here, we could maybe get a little bit better entry. What you can see is going to be right inside, this area is right inside the wedge. And just right below where the 15-minute 62 is.
Yeah, that would be a nice bounce.
This would be a nice place to maybe take a second position if you still feel comfortable with the trade. We are getting a little bit. You see that this red candle could not close below the 62. This one wick down, come back, and now it's blue. So this could be a retest area right in here. And like I said, we have the green 5-minute green fib line, which it passed it, checked it, came back past it, checked it again. And so right now there's a lot of buyers and selling going on right around this area. Nice little bounce. We got the crossover. The green barely crossed over the yellow on this one. Let's go to our 1-minute chart, and you can see where we have. And we blow this thing up. You'll see that we did have the crossover on this pullback. You can see where it's crossing over, crossing over, crossing over, and we'll see if this thing can come up and get everything in the right direction once again off this bounce. Right now it's range bound. It's just range bound between 104.43 and 104.34. So it's in the 10 pip range. If we get a really strong move down into this zone, this might be a good area. If you get a really strong candle coming right down in, that might be a good place to try and take a buy. A lot of times you see before you get a really, when it starts to break out, it'll make a head fake. It'll go a real strong move down, take out a lot of the stops, and that's where you want to try and get in. So this is kind of like a retest slash trap area. And it's right by the 15-minute Fibonacci blue line, which is a major area. So I say if it comes into here, I may even take another position. My stop will still stay the same. Any questions?
None thus far. I'm just trying to.
So we have some of our old faithfuls coming in the room today, this morning. Glad to have you.
Trying to see if I can do some setups here.
And let's see, what else do we have to talk about? Let me see if there's any harmonics that we can be looking at, possibly. There is a Euro-US bullish harmonic. Actually, we'll keep an eye on this one right now. Actually, we got the crossover right now. We had this nice little candle coming up, crossed over the 62, crossed over the 13 and the 5. We have consolidation right here. We had a nice wick down, came back, retested this low right in here. And let's see what our RSIs are doing. RSIs are up. Everything's moving up out of this 40-60 range, both moving up. Dollar's getting stronger. It was a 3, now it's up to a 5. It still has to get through this little area right in here, but there might be a little bit of room to get a little bit of a punch to the upside. Right now, it's just making lower highs and higher lows. It's spooling up. And this one got down to, this orange one got down to the 24. Actually, this one, on this pullback right here, it got down to the 75 level. And so I can move this up and reset this. There's 75 and 25. This was the pullback a lot of times we're looking for. Looking for this thing to pull back down to 75 and get these things to cross back over where the blue had now crossed over the orange after this pullback. That was this move right in here. That could be an entry off of this pullback. That'd be an early entry, or you can wait for the break. I like the earlier entries a little bit better. I like trying entering on the pullbacks rather than on the breakouts.
Yeah, and there's two reasons for that. One, you're going to get a better fill. So you're going to have that extra amount of pips that you can get in. And second is it's a stronger confirmation, right? When you enter on a bounce of a trend line or something instead of just the break.
Yeah. If you look at this, the candle formation here, you had, this is a strong, here's the wick. You have a higher low on each side of the blue candle. That makes for your pivot candle. You have a little bit of a pivot here. You have a low here. So you have a pivot high here. You have a pivot low here. It's still kind of range bound. We can actually pull this down a little bit closer as this area gets a little bit tighter and tighter. And still pretty much waiting for this thing to break and close above this blue candle right here, which is right where the green fib line is. And if we can get a pass, get a close above the green fib line, come back and recheck it again and check the wedge, that would be a good, that would be another good entry.
Let's see.
Right now, it's not having a lot of confirmation right now. And we wait.
I'm just setting up my what's it called, arrow this morning. So I'm gonna see if maybe sometimes when it's slow with the AIRIS alerts, maybe we'll just bounce on to arrow and see if we can evaluate that.
That might be worthwhile.
I think it might bring some. Oh, look at that break! Come on down. Come on down.
This could be that strong move down that we're talking about, where we try and catch a better entry in here.
I like what you got going on there, Al. You got your 1562. You got the top of your box. You got the wedge about 2 pips lower than that. And then you have the 62. So all of these things are you can probably get a confluence of all of these things within a 5 pip range is a pretty tight entry. So whatever's going to happen is going to happen when price comes down there.
That was a strong move down to retest this low right in here. You notice it's still the 62 still did not get it's barely closed right on the 62. You saw our 15 still down below. Everything's still in the right direction on the 15-minute chart. And what I like about right now, what I like here is we're forming, we had this high up here and came all the way up here. But now we have another little wedge forming right in this area. I would like to see this thing break. Here's our D. I like this trend right here. I would see it break. If it can break the top of here, this could just end up being right now, this could be a trap up here. But right now, I'd like to see it come up, break, close, and retest this area right in here. We have, it's basically forming another little wedge. There's the low, this one, so it's still maintaining this area, this low right here. High, low, higher high, higher low, lower high. Let me just take this one off so we don't confuse things. This is pretty much a flat bottom. See if it breaks to the bottom. It's still respecting the 62 somewhat. And we wait. Let's take a look at the Euro US while we're waiting around here. Let's see, let's go with this one right here. And we're going to look at the Euro US. Take this off, make this big, Take this over here, and we had a harmonic on this one, and this was a. There's where the harmonic looks like. And you'll see here we have the, actually it started in breakdown. Here's our entry to go short up here. It's working its way up to this area.
Oh, excuse me.
This is off the 15-minute chart. There's a couple things going on with this. We have a higher time frame. This is one we're looking at here to go along with it. This one I'm going to draw. We have a harmonic. And a lot of times at the end of a harmonic, you'll see another harmonic or another wedge. Right now, this thing's looking at coming up here to the entry to go short. It's already going. We have this one up here. It just has two butterflies here. Let me go and draw this out, and we'll get back to this one here. Let me go and move this over. And we're looking at smaller one is at 3:30 this morning.
Excuse me, Matt.
Matt, we'll be back in a moment, Christine.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure if maybe people didn't hear me.
Yeah,
I was
he'll be
just
back shortly. I was going to ask him Pedro's question, but he had to leave for a minute.
right. Okay, now I see it over there.
We have a question. What's the question?
He was asking Matt about him using the new IRO and what his thoughts are on it.
Oh, I like it. I was in the beta test on that one, and it works really, really very well. I haven't listened to the information on it since he actually got it up and working for everybody. I think he's made a few changes on it, but basically it's a manual trading platform, but it does work really well.
Are you going to run that in Gearbox Al?
I'm going to run it. Yeah, I'm going to run it, variable, and gearbox. I'm running all three of them.
You wild and crazy guy, you. Look at that.
No, I'm just a wild and crazy person.
Oh, Matt's back. Hey, Matt. Pedro has a question.
Hey, yes. What's up?
He just wanted to know if you've had experience with Arrow. He's planning on getting it. Just curious if I have anything to say about it.
Yeah, never used it. Just put it on my charts like 3 minutes ago. Easy to set up. I've been on the 4 calls that they've had or whatever. Interesting to add Arrow and AIRIS just to have more potential possibilities. It seems pretty straightforward. That's all. More to come when I have something to talk about.
It's a really easy program. It gives you the indicator alert. It took, when I was doing the beta testing, it would take me about 20 seconds to decide whether or not to take the trade or not. Not all the trades that it generates are tradable, or you should be taking the trades, but it's a pretty easy analysis to determine whether or not to take it or not.
Yeah, and it works on all time frames. Right now, I don't know enough about it to
They generally trade most of them on the 15-minute time frame. They do trade the U.S.
indices and stuff.
The S&P, the S&P, the US 500, and the gold. They trade that on a 5-minute chart. They give it a little bit more room for the gold and the S&P, but they are pretty good. Actually, I'm gonna take another position on this since it's down here. See if I can do that. I don't know if it'll let me do it.
Rejected.
Yeah, TradeStation does that. Let me just mark and see if I can just take a.
Yeah, it looks like a big denied sign right there.
There you go. So I got a position. I got one up here at another position here, and my stop is still going to be down here for both positions.
Okay. Oh, that's 5-minute chart, so we'll see what happens. Oh, look at that cross, though.
Stop would be at 104.27.
See what's going on. Eesh. Yeah, I don't like it. Al, my friend, I think she's going down.
Is it going down? Did it switch on me?
Yeah, I think it did. If you look on your other charts at the 5-minute chart, you'll see.
Oh yeah, I see what you're looking at here.
Yeah, maybe
This could be, well, it could still hold.
it could hold right now. If it's going to hold, it'll
Yeah.
hold in the next 2 minutes or so.
There's a trend right here. We do have a secondary trend right in here.
Oh yeah, that's actually really nice where that trend line is.
Yeah, the secondary trend line.
I like that because you have 2 bounces way at the bottom, and then you're just waiting for your third. So if you're gonna commit to something, then I would commit to a bounce on that trend line you just threw.
Yeah, well, one thing about like right here, I mean, I like when you see these strong moves down into a zone and a bounce, because that's where it's taking the searching for stops. Now, if I did take a second position here, if you figure I got it, my fill was up here, my stop is down here. I'm only looking at
5.
6. That's about 6 pips on the. Yeah, that's only 6 pips,
Oh, that's not bad.
which isn't bad.
It's not like we're talking about you being behind 10 pips, right? It's a different story.
And again, this was a smaller position because that's just what the Wanda allowed me to do. But I like the fact we have our trend. It broke, came back, checked it. And there's right now it's into this demand zone, and this retest zone, which is off of this. It broke. We had a rally, pullback, rally, pullback, rally, a retest into this area. Came back, retested. It broke through this, but now it's got these orders to be able to fill. So if it gets filled here, I'm out of the trade.
Yeah, but if it bounces where it is right now, I'm gonna jump in the trade.
Yeah.
Because if it rejects right there, I'm happy. Because that's a good entry. That would be the third hit on the trend line. And based on my experience and what I've seen, the third hit on a trend line is a pretty safe trade to take.
Yeah. This would be the validation of this trend right here.
Yeah.
And actually, this right here, it basically
your feed's a little bit different than mine.
Is it
on this one? Yeah, because right now I've got it. Yeah. Okay, it's about right. It's looks like it's off by 0.5 pips, but I'm just used to seeing the same thing, right?
Yep.
I'm using FXCM. That's why.
That would make a little difference.
A little bit, just a hair. It all depends on the liquidity provider, right?
Yep. But I just look over here where here's the wick up, right? I'm just put this right through the body. Here's the top of the red candle, pretty much the body of this blue of the wick. It gets like a wick over wick area. Came back down, it tested it, couldn't hold. So basically, there's some buyers down in here, and we'll just see how strong they are.
This could be nice. So we'll see what happens.
Give
It's
it room.
consolidating on that trend line pretty good on the 1 minute. It's forming a little wedge there.
Now we are getting the 5 or the 13 crossing the 62 up here, but it hasn't closed. And let's see where our 15-minute chart is.
Yeah, not decisive enough on the 15,
yeah.
right?
Not really. It's now we did get a close below the 1562 moving average, but it's sort of like a.
That's fine. That's
kind of
like a
basing it there.
safety net, right?
Yeah.
Like we know something's going to happen around there. It usually doesn't
Yeah.
consolidate on there for too long.
No, so
Especially when you have a lot of movement in the markets.
Yeah. And then see that we got that nice strong move down, came back down, retested the area.
Oh yeah, look at that. That's good enough for me.
We have all these moving averages. It got all the way down to the 25 area, the 11 and the 25. Got the break cross above. Even on this red candle, you can see that that blue candle right after it brought this blue RSI up above the 8. And right now they're tracking both the parallel on the upside. And we'll see if it can break. See, that was a little bit divergence through here. We had this low here, we had this low, we had a lower, much lower low off of this with about an equal low to the bottom.
I've got a really tight stop in there. So like 104.29.
Yeah, and in fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move these up to the bottom of this wick.
Because if it's going to go, it's not going to cross that trend line again. If it does, then I don't want to be in there because it means that trend line didn't hold as it was supposed to. And trend lines aren't always going to hold. The last thing you want is consolidation on your trend line. You want a nice bounce, rejection, and out of there.
And so right now, I've only got a 3 pip stop right now. So I'm only risking 3 pips on this.
Oh, that's nothing. And your position sizing based on what, 10?
Yeah. Well, this one is position size. It's right now. It's not really set for anything particular because this is the demo account that's got
I get
a variety of things. I'm just trying to get trades so I can show trade positions on this Awanda account. It doesn't play. It doesn't play very nice as far as what it wants to do. And I still only have an 8 pip stop on this one. So if it takes me out, it takes me out. If it comes back down, retest this, and may come back up again, gives me another chance to get in. Or the other option would be to reverse positions and look for another bounce off of this trend line down here. But right now, I'm still liking the fact that we have a bit of divergence. We have a real strong move down off of this. Here's a low, a lower low, but we have pretty much about the equal strength on the RSI to the downside. This looks like the head fake off of this trend line, this larger time frame trend line. This looks like the head fake that we often talk about. Just enough to get everybody scared out, take everybody's stops. Tried taking my stop here, but didn't let them do it. That's why sometimes it's nice if you take like a half of your position, like take a 1% of your account trade off of here. If it pulls back against you, take the other half. Now your dollar cost average. Now the average is right about in this area, right about where this 62 is.
It helps when you're trading with a group of people. I find as long as they trade kind of similarly to you, it adds that extra confirmation. So you're not only relying on your set of eyes, but also someone that you, when you have people that you trust and respect, it makes things quite a
Well,
bit easier.
you can talk it through and work it through, and sometimes pick up something that you may not have seen that the other person.
Yeah,
And,
like
and the,
if you get to a point where you can disqualify trades, you're in the right place. Because it's easy to qualify trades, but if you can disqualify something, that's where it gets special. And that is a pretty good rejection in my books.
Yep.
So you got to cross the 513. It's probably going to come down, hit the 62.
And say this thing could just be sitting right inside this range all day long today. But you see where it did cross, penetrate that. It penetrated. Well, let's see. When we had the original alert, which was back over here, and there was a higher trend line up above over to the left. Still looking at this as being a potential target area. Still looking good.
yeah, looking very good.
It's still on a little bit. Let's see, how close are we to our 9 o'clock hour here? Another 15 minutes. It's starting to give us a little more heat again.
Maybe we got a head fake on our hands, Al.
Well, we might have head fakes on both directions, maybe. Who knows? It's hard to say. Right now, it's still inside the wedge. We had a little head fake, down here. We'll see if it can, how it retests this area.
That might blow right through there. You know how it never made it up to the top of the wedge?
Mm-hmm.
So it made a lower high.
Basically found some buyers right up in this area, or some sellers in that area.
Were you guys in Brian's session last night?
I was not in the session. I did talk to Brian after the session.
Oh, okay. Just wonder how it went, if anybody was in there.
I'm not liking the way that moving average cross looked, Al. You know, see how it failed to cross up?
The moving average cross.
Yeah, 513. It's a pattern that you see often when things just melt. Is that price breaks the 62 and then the moving average doesn't flip to the upside. But we'll see what happens.
We did have a yellow rejection of the 62. That's not good.
That's what I was trying to say, but I couldn't say it.
The 13 rejection
Yeah.
of the 62.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was trying to say.
All right, just got stopped out of this one. Didn't even get down to my target, just took my stop by the spread. I still would not be of the mind to take it short yet.
I still think there's a whole bunch of confluence of confirmations right where we're at. So
Looks like you still may want to go short. Yeah.
do you mean long? Or
No, I think it may come down.
it's turning around?
Well, I think right now there's conflict. There's conflict.
Okay.
The 15 minutes on the 15 minutes seems like it still wants to go short, but I'm not sure how much further down it's going to go.
Mm.
We are getting a nice little basing right here. I think I'm reverse positions on this. Sell stop at 104.30.
Yeah.
Actually, want to get a little.
Yeah, I'm out in the slush. I closed it. I'm not messing with that. So Took
And my stop's going to be right above the 62. If this thing breaks, it should break on down. It's already tested it once. If it breaks
Yeah.
above the 62, I'll be out of this thing at 104. Then I'll call that good for the end of for this pair today. You know, 436. That's only a 5-pip stop. And then we have take profit of, I'll look at the 30, 104.27.
Pedro says he thinks that there isn't much room to go long, too much selling pressure. It has a lot more room to go short if you look at higher time frames.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at too.
Yeah, it's just it's looking like it.
We'll see if it can see where my fib lines are here. See if there's a fib line anywhere close by. I'm looking at possible retest of this 15 fib line right down here.
Pedro has a little comment. I think there isn't much room to go long selling pressure. It has a lot more room to go short if you look at higher time frames.
Yeah, I agree with that, Pedro. The fact that it's been rejecting the top part, had rejected it. We had the head fake up here, and it's been following this trend line has been holding. And actually got another little steeper line here. And the dollar is getting weaker on the RSI.
It's 9 o'clock.
Well, that reached up there quite a bit, didn't it?
Yes, it did.
Amazing what happens at the 9 o'clock hour.
Yeah.
That big reach might be a good sign. Or not. Looks like I'm stopped out. It's only a 5-pip stop on a small position, so.
You never know what it's going to do.
No, sometimes you get it and sometimes you don't get it. It hurts when it's your original position that you were in.
Yeah.
Sometimes it can't always be right.
Well, we'll see what happens with this green fib line right here. If it can close
I
above.
think it might slice through it, but I'm not taking a third trade on this pair. I've already hit 2 stops. Yeah, exactly. I'm probably almost done trading that.
If I get closed above this, I'll take one more shot at it.
Oh boy, yeah.
I'll do a buy stop at the, actually this could be a little trap here too. And let's see, we're looking at this possibly being another trap, possibly. Last week we had one and it blew right through the trap area. Buy stop. I put a buy stop on the other side of this at 44. So it's getting the momentum to get up there. And now getting dollar strength. We had a 3-point spread on this one. This one was breached. And I'll put my stop in at 10 pips. Take profit, 12 pips. I'll bring this down to the red fib line. Still no other alerts.
No, I haven't seen any.
Kind of a whipsawing morning this morning.
Yeah. Kind of like
I
our
do like
life.
this from a harmonic standpoint. I do kind of like ABC. This is the C, 1, 2, 3, 4. This could be the 3 move here.
Which would be very nice in a long position.
Actually, look at from here to this low, to this middle, higher low, and then the D and up to
Yeah. Okay. In the bank.
I believe I know someone said they don't like trading the U.S. yen. Who is that?
That is not
You
too funny.
picking on someone?
Well, let's see. It
Just-
wasn't
just-
me.
Just going into my reservoir of information that I've picked up over the years here.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. I just cannot get this one down. I don't know what it is about it, but I say up, it goes down, and vice versa. I put it down to second position pip reading as opposed to the fourth. I don't know. I don't know what it is.
Oh, well, you should just start doing the absolute opposite of what you're thinking.
I should, right?
Well, yeah.
I really should.
There was a time in my trading journey where I did 100% the opposite because I was always getting the wrong side of the move, and I ended up being profitable.
There you go. But I'm finding it mostly just with this pair. I don't know why. I'm using the same strategy I use with everything else. I do better with gold than I do with this pair, if you can believe it. I don't know what the problem is. It's one of those things, Eva. Just don't trade it then if it's not working for you.
Let's go to a higher time frame chart. Maybe that might help picture things a little differently. And we'll see if this candle can push and close above this green fib line here. It's still hanging pretty close together with the dollar and the yen, so are still fighting it out here.
They are. Fighting for last place.
I like this basing. We had a nice strong move up. We had a nice little red candle. Now we have another blue candle. Red, nice little basing area right in here. We still have to be mindful of that wick up here on this one. And mindful of the there. And I'm going to call this a trap until it gets broken. Why don't we say we take a break for about a few minutes here and come back at 9:30. How's that?
Let's do it.
Like a plan.
Okay, let's do that. Let's take a break. Okay, we're back. Looks like this thing's starting to take off again. I'm just going to stay out of that trade. I closed it out and I'm just staying out of it. Anybody still here?
Yep, I'm still here.
And now it looks like it's probably going to take off and make my target.
Third time's the charm.
And we'll see how the market opens up this morning. Yeah, so we're waiting for the 9:30 open of the U.S. market.
Yeah, it's 9:30, right?
Looks like the dollar is getting stronger.
Well, it blew right through that trap. Now let's see if that other line is going to stop it.
Yeah, let's see. This is where my target was.
Mm-hmm.
Came right up to where I had my target set. I did close the trade out while we were on break.
I don't think you guys got it. But
Does anybody have any comments, questions, input?
Pretty
something
quiet
that they
this morning.
something that they want to see.
Pretty quiet this morning, Al.
Yeah, it is.
Do you want? Well, I don't know if you want to leave this trade.
I'll tell you what, I'm this trade pretty much has worked out to where it was the target would have been anyway. We got stopped out a couple of times. I took it off earlier than I probably needed to over the break, and then it's starting to materialize. So we came right up into where our trap area was, where we had this other trap that we found a couple last week.
Do you want to go back and look at that Euro US? See what's going on there?
We can do that.
Seeing
Thanks for
this one
asking.
kind of sure.
Basically, it's still hanging in here right about where nothing really too exciting. It came off the C area of this harmonic, and I don't know if it came up to the other. Let's see. It was the.
Right.
It's really not doing much of anything specifically. Basically, it's there was the D. It surpassed the D area that it had originally. Was down around this area. So there's really not much to see about this one either.
Okay.
I'll just take this one off.
Okay. Because that one came in as one of your notifications, correct?
Yeah, and yeah, that was one of my harmonic notifications.
Right. Okay. I have another question.
Okay.
On our charts, okay. How do we put in? You know how we have the 30-minute 62.
Right? Down here.
Do we, yes. Do we put that on our charts? Like when we enter it in Trading View, do we just do it a separate apart exponential moving average?
No, it's actually part of that our MMA indicator.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's all part of that. You can just turn it on and off. There's a little tab here. Here's your 5, 13, 62, and then here's your the higher time frame 30-minute, and you can change this to whatever time frame you want. We just put it on 30. Just click that button, and it shows up on all the charts then.
Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh.
It would be an easy question, probably something easy you'd know right away. Like, because I was like, I totally messed up that one.
Well, if we don't have any more alerts, we don't have any more comments, so maybe we should shut this thing down early today. Anybody have anything at all? Anything they'd like to ask? Anything they'd like to see? This is an open forum right now.
I thought Matt was going to show us his arrow when there was nothing else doing.
Is Matt
I'm still here. It's just I don't know enough about it, and I don't want to talk about it because I just don't. I've looked at it, and I would be doing it an injustice by. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sure. No, appreciate your honesty.
So give it a while. I don't want to talk about something I don't know because that way everyone's safer that way.
It's funny.
Ah, just the truth.
No, I know, but it's it's refreshing.
Yeah. Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
Well, in this U.S. Euro US, here's the harmonic that was developed. Here's the D area. Let me go and change this to my default so you can see a little bit better. Here's the D area target. So that would be the entry area of 120.24 if it gets up that high. It would need to cross, I would like to see it break the, hang on a second here. I'd like to see it break this XA trend line here. So I'm going to draw a trend line off of this to the B. That's pretty much right where the D is, pretty much right about in that area. And we have the A, that's the one I here, the X to the B. It broke that to come back. So now we're looking at a target up here on this. So
Okay.
that would be, this would be the break.
Mm-hmm.
See where our fib lines are here. There's a green fib line right up here where the D is. And let's see, this is 15-minute chart. This is our range. Blue. Here's our blue 50. Okay, so right here, it's past our blue 15. This would probably be a long right here, actually. I like the fact it crossed and closed above this trend line. It's above the blue line. Why is this not taking it? There's our 15-minute blue. There's our 15-minute green right up there near our target area. And we put the ranges in between on the 5-minute. And right now you can see we're starting to trend. You can see we're starting to trend. If it breaks through the top of this, we could be looking at this for a target. I kind of like this trade. RSIs are out of the 46 area heading up on the 5-minute. And target's going to be up here. Take profit at 20.24. And stop loss will be we'll put it at the bottom of the 62, which is be about 1974. Probably go a little bit less than that. Let's go with our 10 pip target. Our stop, and just put it on the other side of this trend line. And that'd be that trade. Let's see how that one goes. Well, on that note, I think we're going to wrap this thing up today since we're not getting any alerts and no questions. So let's wrap it up, and we will see everybody tomorrow.
All right, everybody.
Have a good day.
Tomorrow.